All right, let's go ahead, let's get started. Let's stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks all for coming tonight. Public sign up, if anybody wants to speak tonight, your name on the little list back there. Have one month. Announcements.
Yes, well, I'd like to start out by announcing that it is January and it is School Board Recognition Month. And so we have several people here today to thank you for your outstanding work and service. We know you do not do this for the pay. And so, it takes a lot of time, not only just at our meetings here, but preparing for the meetings and doing extra events. And so I know that I really appreciate having such a supportive board who's so committed to our community. And so with that said, I'm going to turn it over to who should go first. That's me, because you have a meeting, right?
Yeah.
Church.
Thank you. I imagine that it often feels like a lot that happens here goes unseen, unnoticed, unrecognized, or uncelebrated, but not felt. Jervis Elementary School is an amazing resource school because it's led by amazing people. And what you do here is what lays that vision, that groundwork and support. And I'm so beyond proud of the work that happens, what our classroom teachers are doing, what our academic interventions, our counseling small groups, after school clubs, or even activities with families. But none of that would be possible without what you're doing. So just want to thank you for that service and that selfless sacrifice that you're making. We found out hours ago that we lost one of our kinders after a very hard battle with cancer. And we were asked by the family to not share with students yet. So we just shared with the staff first thing this morning. And we've sent the message to families in just that one classroom, and we're talking with the students tomorrow morning. But it hit really hard for a lot of our staff, including that classroom teacher. And between all the tears, it might as well have been the performance of her lifetime, because those kids needed her there. But it wasn't performance, because that's just who Nicole is. She's just caring, she's compassionate, she's positive, she's encouraging. We have a whole building of staff like that. But again, I think it's a tribute to the kind of school board, the district administration that we have, that attracts people like that, that honors and celebrates the work that they're doing, that supports them. And so I just want to say thank you, because this is a place that families deserve a school like this, with staff like that who care that much. So with that, I know I keep a drawer full of chocolate. And so I will let you swap if you didn't get the flavor that you wanted. But, we just wanted to say just a tremendous thank you. I have the jar. I limit myself to one piece a day. And that's usually at the end of a day. I take my one piece and I head home. But again, just massive thank you for all we're doing. And I'll let you decide if we can use our swipers without her knowing. So just thank you so much for all that you're doing.
Thank you so much. We
Very
appreciate
good.
you. Okay, well, let's just go with the middle school then. Awesome. Watchers. For everything in moderation is fine. Like Lindsay said, one candy a day. Just take it for an hour.
All right, so, I don't know how to follow that. Dusty is great with doing that. Just want to say thank you very much. I know this is a difficult job. You don't often hear the positive. You do one little thing and boy, the whole world knows about the negative, but you guys do amazing work. We as a staff, as a teacher in this district, as an administrator in this district, know the time, the effort that you guys put in. and how you do really care about this district, and we see that all the time. I was trying to have my seventh period elective make something for you, but the weather kind of came in and changed that, but next year. My leadership made a card for you. We appreciate our Jervis School District School Board. Thanks for all you do, and different leadership and staff members signed it. And then we just have different pictures on the back of middle school and activities that have happened so far this year.
Love it. Thank you so much.
I am not this creative. I will not take credit for this. This is an online thing. But I have for each of you, it is a school board survival kit. It is the lifesavers to remind you that you are one, Tootsie Rolls to help you roll with the punches, Starburst for a burst of energy when you need one, Peppermint Patty to help you keep your cool, Snickers to remind you to keep your sense of humor, Bubble Gum to help you get through sticky situations, and Kisses to show you all the love you deserve.
Thank you so much.
Sorry. Oh, my goodness. Okay, aren't wanting to stay on, sorry.
Thank you.
And one last thing. This is from the grant that we got, the Gear Up grant. So each of our middle school students got a bag with goodies inside, and this is actually the bag for the staff. And we had a few extras. So again, if you need to change, there's a t-shirt in there. So I'll just show you what the t-shirt looks. It says empowering dreams, inspiring futures. Very cool. I should have brought the white to show you that the 7th and 8th graders got white t-shirts that says, basically, I think it says it's a college, it's a plan, is what that says. And then the inside, there is it's a plan cup and a straw with it. And then there's a little notebook and pencils and a little tab. So I have one of those for each of you. Again, if I don't give you the right size of t-shirts, you guys can trade hope each other. I tried to put some different sizes in, I'm guessing, of sizes. So this is thanks to the Gear Up. Trying to give you the right sizes. I'm guessing, boy, I'm really guessing.
I won't be able to fit in anything. I hope that's candy.
All that candy. But I are eating all the candy. Before and after pictures. Before and after. You're up for that candy. Thank you. You're very welcome. Thank you so much. You're very welcome. Again, thank you guys very much. Thank you.
Thank
you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, high school.
Yep.
Did you bring some bananas and apples?
Yeah, mine's not food related. Everyone's kind of already said it. I kind of think of our school board as not only the school board, but I also see a lot of you guys at community events too, and get to interact with you in a personal level, not just a professional level. So I'll keep mine short. Thank you for everything you do. I always feel supported, where I know that's not the case everywhere we go. So to support you, to continue to come out to our sport events, everyone will get a t-shirt and a Jervis hat. I'm not gonna hand them out. I'll just leave them back here. But also we have some of our art students here. You guys want to come up and say hi? And I'll just pass these down. Each one has your name on it. We tried to frame them, but bought the wrong size frame. We couldn't get new ones in the snow, so the frames are coming. So these were all created by some of our students.
Very awesome.
Thank you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Love that.
We sincerely hope you all love them as much as we love creating them. I am Roxy and I am one of the staff. One of the staff in the yearbook and the Zoe, and she will be taking pictures in the yearbook.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
so much.
Very nice.
Okay, Dr. Helms with the preschool.
Okay. Buddy?
No.
Again, I echo sentiments across the board. I echo Andrew and so much has been said that I agree with. I think that I would just close from the administrator's perspective that I think we recognize that being on a school board is more than just showing up and being a part of this, because in the world that we live in today, you know, if you're no stranger to the news, you can recognize that this is a very selfless position that can take many different forms depending on the nature of the desire of the person sitting at the table and why it is that you want to be here in the first place. And I think that you can see many different districts, and in a very non-judgmental way, because that's not my purpose, but you can see many districts across the board where the way in which a board functions or lack thereof resonates its way down throughout the district. I can speak for my administrative peers confidently and say that I think all of us fully recognize, we truly believe that all of you are here for the exact right reasons, that you demonstrate care for the community and the care and the concern for the schools and our students and the trust you have in Dandy and across the board. And that's not a flippant thing, because that helps all of us serve in the capacities that we want to as well. And so it's deeply appreciative in such a way that when people tend to be very stressed out, they lose their hair. But I haven't seen you in a while, and I've actually gained hair. So that's how well it's going, thanks to you. So and I appreciate you laughing at my jokes, because you don't have to. So from our preschool friends.
I'm gonna frame that since this is framed and the other one is too, and then I'll frame this one and put them in. In the frame. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have one more gift coming, but it is delayed because of the snow inclement weather issues. So we'll just keep celebrating in February.
Thank you.
That's how we do in Jervis.
All right.
All right.
The next announcement is about board vacancies. So there's an application in your packet. We do have 3 open positions for this coming year. And so we want to get this out, you know, in the next couple of weeks so that we can then begin the process of filling the positions, so that we're ready to go to at budget time. We have time to train the people if they're new. Karen, did you want to add anything to that about the vacancy?
Just that it's budget committee members, not board members.
Yeah.
Right, no, budget, and who are the 3 that are,
Exiting.
exiting? Yeah.
Me.
Yeah.
I knew that one. David Moreno
Okay.
and.
Arturo.
Okay, so, got it. And would any of them, either one of them be interested in doing it again, or
We reached out to them, Sandra reached out to them, and there was either no response or it was a no, thank you. And I would assume no responses.
Is a no, is a no.
Okay.
So do we still have Alan Hansen on there and Karen?
As far as we
Hart?
know.
Yeah.
How about opening it on social media?
Yes, we will. We'll
This
publish
would
it
be a
everywhere.
great opportunity for some of our, for some of the community
Yes.
to actually work on the budget to see exactly how things work and so.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so that's what that is. Very good.
Approval minutes, you have none. Very good. All right, public forum, we do have one. Lenthal would like to speak. I need to read this, then I'll let him come up. Public participation in the board meetings, school district policy, DDH-AR. Statements by members of the public are to be brief and concise. Their person may at his or her discretion establish time limit on discussion or oral presentations by a visitor of any topic. Speakers may offer objective criticism of school operations and programs, but the board will not hear complaints concerning individual school persons. Chairperson will direct complaints to the appropriate means for the board's consideration and disposition of the legitimate complaints involving individuals. This time of this month are invited to present. Turn to the board. Hello, Lenthal. Happy New Year.
Well, it ain't very happy, but I
And-
hope
and-
it gets happy.
Hey, and we're gonna give you 2 minutes today, okay?
Okay, I'm
All right.
gonna try and make
So,
it quick.
Quick.
Mr. Stevens, on your college resume, would I find listed a course called The Principles of Child Psychology?
I remember that public comment is comment. It's not a dialogue and question and answer.
I said I was asking that as a question of you, but I didn't expect an answer. I just expected you to consider it and think about it. Now that's the first piece of odd nonsense that we got to handle. The second thing, I'm hearing everybody madder than a wet hen about this bond levy. Because most of the people who are yelping like a scalded cat don't have the cash to pick it up. And even though they may have big farms and lots of property, when they get to November 15th, putting an extra $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 in the till for the sheriff ain't funny. And I do know several that have said that, and that is what this bill will come to for us. Round figures, I just rounded it off. So these people are hawking. I'm going to say I do understand, yes, we have a problem with the sewer in the high school building. But why not do the simple solution? I'll call one of my acquaintances and they'll bring out their equipment. They'll go down in that sewer and go through it, and they'll find the plug, whatever it is, dig it out, and put things back to rights. And I've seen them do it many times. I'm also going to say we talk about the high school roof, particularly the gym.
Oh,
Okay,
Lenthal, we're
Lenthal.
at 3 minutes, so thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Yep, we have reports, we have a bonus up there.
We do, we have our student council representatives here.
Hi, guys. Happy New Year.
New Year to you guys too. Okay, so, hi, hope you guys had a good, holidays.
Good, thank you.
Okay. So, as to start off, I want to talk about just things that happened over the past month or so, since we had our last board meeting. So the Christmas parade that I'm sure a lot of you attended, it was a success in my book. I don't know about you guys. I know I was on one of the float that, they handed out stuff for the bond and I was Santa, so if you don't know.
There you go.
So fun. And we got, going through the town and there were so many community members. It was kind of a special moment. I thought it really meant a lot to be there. So yeah, that was really fun. And then, so winter sports are off to a great start. Our boys basketball team is great. They have a 9-1 record right now, which is awesome. Our girls team they're working hard to rebuild their program. And wrestling is doing great. They have a really big team this year. And they're, collecting wins and working really hard. And they have a lot of potential to do great this year. Next year, we have a lot of younger, people on the team.
Did they have a tournament here yet?
They had one, they had to do it with
I mean,
McNary.
they had to meet here, right? That's the
Yeah,
first time
last-
in a little while, yes.
Yeah, with McNary and Kennedy. It was fun. I went to
Yep.
watch. The counseling team took a group of students from leadership and other students from just basically in general to, for a full day to organize gift packages for foster families. And they loved us and they want us back for other events. They really appreciated our help because they had other schools there, like Bunchette the day before, and they didn't really do a good job, so they really appreciated us going back through their stuff and all that. Gear Up, the leadership team put together and gave out swag bags and t-shirts from Gear Up for every student and staff in the high school and middle school. Seniors have been working hard and applying and getting accepted to colleges and scholarships. Yeah, those swag bags you guys have,
We made
we made them. We had a whole assembly line in leadership for 2 days and we were, putting it together, so.
Took us like what, 2 days?
No, it's actually kind of fun though. But yeah, and then, seniors are working really hard. We got a lot of people applying and getting accepted. Where'd you get them? U of O, George Fox, and University of Portland.
Nice.
They already got accepted to 13 colleges. Anyways, going forward.
Little side note.
So we're doing a new thing called the Golden Ticket Raffle. So every week, our teachers give out, I don't know how many golden tickets to students that they just think are doing outstanding jobs and just whatever. Someone holds the door and they give them a golden ticket. And then at the end of the week, they make sure they turn them into the office. At the end of the week, we have a raffle and then 2 students get prizes, which I think is fun because then you kind of get we need to be good, Okay, so for, how many tickets did you get? We got one. So,
Got one.
we got one. So for upcoming events, I'm really excited about this. I know a lot of other students that are helping with it are, Unified Basketball. I was part of it last year, one of the helpers. We're really excited to keep doing it this year. We have, I think, 4 games scheduled?
We added a home game today.
I don't know home game. I was gonna say there was more on the way. Which I'm really excited to go. I'm going to the first one, which is at Silverton, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. Next Tuesday, yeah. Which is really fun. I was part of it last year. It's the most rewarding thing that you could ever do. It's so fun. And then the finals are coming up, in just a little bit, couple weeks, the week after next, right? Yeah. No, but we're working hard. Students are working hard, getting ready for them, getting all their stuff in. And so we're actually the leadership is putting together a winter dance. which is gonna be the week after finals. So it's gonna be on February 9th. So it's kind of like winter formal, but it's not formal. It's gonna be casual.
It's
just
just like
gonna
a little
be
treat.
Just a little
for
like,
hard work.
start of the semester, theme is glow up. So it's gonna be like, where it's a very positive start to the semester, kind of a transition into spring, even though it's still February. But no, we're excited to do that. We're just gonna be in the cafeteria and, have fun again. And then, also we're planning prom, which is gonna be amazing. Which we're also really excited for. Gonna be in the same place we went last year, is a little farm, like kind of farmy place in Mount Angel. It's really cute. And then we are continuing our student of the month assemblies each month, which we do just each teacher picks a student that they think is really outstanding that month and give them a little plaque thingy, certificate. And yeah, those really are just to kind of put a positive light and make sure we recognize the people that are doing well in school, not just the ones that are doing well in sports, which I think is really important. So yeah. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys tonight.
Thank you.
Good job.
Okay, tonight for administrative report, it is Creighton's turn to give a presentation. PowerPoint, I will find it.
Good evening, everybody. As I was recognizing that it was my turn to go this evening, it may have only been a few months, but it felt like it actually had been quite some time since I had been up here last to share the ongoings of student services with you all. So it's good to see you now. It's been a little while. So again, we'll kind of go through a number of the different buckets. I tried to not duplicate stuff that was on my board report, but obviously please feel free to ask any questions that you might have from the report or from anything up here. Highlighting special education, as Perry said, it's unified season. So we are kicking off. We got our first practice tomorrow. This is one of the more exciting things. I know I'm biased, but it's some of the more exciting 6 weeks that we have going on in the district. It's truly fantastic. So next week, we've got our first game. It's going to be away at Silverton High School. This is going to be new to us this year that we didn't do last year, where we're actually going to have an away game where we're going to split it in the middle school. Unified students are going to have a game against Silverton Middle School. And then the following game right afterwards will be our high schoolers against their high schoolers. And so it was just an idea that Andy, their AD over there, had. And I was like, yeah, we can most certainly do that. So we're going to split those and have that game. And then next Saturday, we've got our the big unified tournament of the Pacific Northwest up at Forest Grove. I mean, it's a very large tournament and it's a lot of fun. We did that last year. We've got a little bit of a break. Got an away game at Wilsonville. We just put in a home game today on the 20th. Julie was fantastic with Doug to be able to schedule that in a way where we don't have any home or away games with our basketball teams, and it doesn't conflict with their practice time. So all those players will be able to come to this game, cheer them on, and then attend their practices. So that will be a lot of fun. And then what we didn't do last year is the Wilsonville end of season tournament is kind of the state tournament. So we got a number of practices, we got a number of games on the schedule. Should be a lot of fun. A couple other things about SPED. We're contracted with a gentleman named Doug, with Dan Shepard, who's a former director of SPED for McMinnville, doing fantastic work in the elementary FLC building, or in the FLC room. It's going to be moving up to the high school FLC room pretty soon. Just a fantastic coach. Comes alongside the teachers and the IAs, just does observations, watches what they do, and then just sits down and provides insight and encouragement. And even the best of players still need coaches. And so that's exactly what he is, and he's fantastic at that. Next one is ELD. We are approaching ELPA testing season. And so elementary school starts in about 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Middle school, high school, a little bit after that. We set the dates so we're not conflicting with other testing going on with iReady and some other things, just so kids aren't having to do multiple different forms of tests in the same day. But we're sitting down. I've already sat down with the elementary ELD staff because they're going first. Was going to sit down yesterday with the middle school and high school ELD staff, but we didn't. We're going to do that next week. And we're talking strategies. So instead of just kind of approaching testing from like this linear perspective where kindergartners go first and then first graders and second graders and third graders, what we're going to do district-wide is what we did last year at the elementary school, where we take a look at the students and how many domains they have already passed and how close they are to exiting out of ELD altogether. And we're going to kind of really strategically say that if you're really, really close to passing, we're going to hold you off and test you last to maximize the instructional time you have before you test. And then it also allows us to do some after-school tutoring with those particular students to really focus in on if they're missing one particular domain skill. We've got 6 to 10 weeks of after-school tutoring where we can just focus on that skill because they have already passed the other domains, so they don't have to take them again. And so it really just focuses on that. And I think it really optimizes the opportunity for those ELs to actually exit altogether. And so that means that those ELs that haven't passed very many domains or any domains, they're testing first. It's not to say that we're prioritizing them least, but it is just saying like we're optimizing who we think we can pass and now, and putting as much instructional time and tutoring time in front of them, because we know that the more that we can exit this year, the more resources we can start to apply year after year after year as the number of ELs start to go down. So we can start applying those resources to them as they begin to start passing and working their way up. So there's a real kind of strategy that goes into it. We're going to do some really cool creative speaking strategies during the test this year. You can imagine for some of these ELs when they sit down and they're in front of a Chromebook and they've got 8 to 12 of their peers that are in the same room and they've got a microphone and they're asked to speak out loud. How many of them just lack confidence or to be able to speak, at a cadence and a tempo and a volume and confidence and able to do that. So we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to try to thin the numbers of those that are testing at one given time. We purchased some of those. We put them on the desks during COVID, those barrier things that are like this, but instead of clear, they're not clear. So they're kind of privacy things. But we're also we're asking these ELs like, who's your favorite teacher or your parent or a brother, sister, or a pet or something like that. We actually have a picture and we're going to pin it to the inside of that. And so when they're doing their speaking, what we're trying to do is coach them. Instead of talking into a microphone, talk to your mom or talk to your cat or talk to your teacher. And I think what we've been practicing it and what we're really trying to explore and what I think we're going to be successful at is even for adults, if you just speak into a microphone and you don't really know where it's going or who's going to listen, it can be kind of intimidating. But if you can kind of forget that microphone's there and you're just talking to your teacher or your mom or your cat or whatever, like we think we can elicit more out of them that way, especially the younger ones. So we're going to give that a try. And then just like we did last year, we're going to give them little gifts before they test, pencils with motivational sayings and stuff like that. So instead of rewarding them afterwards, we're going to reward them before they even test and say, hey, regardless of how you do, you did a great job this year. We're really proud of you. Let's demonstrate that and see if we can uplift them as they go in. Next slide. And real quick, I'll say ELD early March is the ELD conference down in Eugene that COSA puts on. We should find out pretty soon, but we're relatively confident that Raul Gomez and Stephanie So at the elementary school are going to be presenting at that conference. And they're going to be presenting the really good work that they're doing with 4th and 5th grade with their science ELD stuff. We're going to go just present that to the whole state.
Cool.
So it'll be really cool.
Terrific.
Early learning. So a lot of just really fun stuff that's going on in there, as always. We put out monthly newsletters and just stuff like that. Beth Flores is the preschool day-to-day coordinator. She's doing a lot of really good work with a lot of science-based stuff that is kind of leading practice on early learning. So the kids are doing really well. I printed this off just to kind of go around really quick, so you can just take a quick look at it. It's not intended for you to really dive in deeply, but regarding the staff themselves, and Sandra, there's a copy there too, if you needed one for board records. This is just the staff themselves for maybe the first time, if not the first time in many years. Like we're having them create very detailed professional development training plans as to, you know, the level of steps within the Oregon registry that they currently sit at, which is the way that the state of Oregon measures the competency of preschool teachers and those kind of things. Setting goals, long-term goals, the kind of hours that they've completed with professional development. And on that back page, there's SMART goals in terms of their first term goal, their second term goal, like all these kind of things. And, you know, it's just kind of sharing with you that what we're attempting to do at the preschool level is not just kid-based in terms of like playing with blocks and learning, you know, the level that one might expect at preschool. Like we are really making a concerted effort to have all 9 of our preschool teachers go through a pretty rigorous degree of professional development training throughout the year, setting their goals. Because I think we fundamentally believe that if our preschool staff feels very empowered, they're trained, they are tooled up, they're ready to go, that a rising tide among them is going to lift all boats, and those students who will be promoting up through kindergarten at some point, whether they're promoting Jervis Kindergarten or Woodburn or wherever else, they are going to be more prepared to be successful kindergartners if our teachers are more prepared with us. So this is just kind of just a little plan of one of the teachers that just kind of demonstrates the seriousness that we're taking with that. Federal programs. I am currently in the middle of the civil rights data collection process. This is done every other year. It is a rather beast of a collection process that the federal government requires of schools. It's a pretty large audit that is intended to essentially monitor non-discrimination among schools, your enrollment, your class counts, your harassment and bullying numbers. That I for a very brief time in my year commiserate with Karen because I'm dreaming in spreadsheets right now because of the amount of data that we just have to farm through with something like this. I understand the nature of it. It's just a pretty giant collection report. So that's what I'm in the middle of. And then, you know, for the most part, we're kind of in a lull season for federal reporting on my end. And so, you know, blessings to you. I have nothing else to add when it comes to federal programs and state requirements for this particular slide. Student health. For this upcoming semester, we're going to be again hosting 4 to 6 nursing candidates from OHSU. We do it almost every single semester. We are maybe the first district that OHSU Monmouth calls to place students. And we host 4 to 6 every single semester. They come to us and they spend time with us about 2 days a week. They do projects for us. They get involved. They're with students. They're doing the whole 9. It's a pretty long-standing and terrific partnership. Courtney, our district-wide nurse, she coordinates all their projects and everything, and she does a really good job. And I'll just briefly plug Courtney that new to us this year, hit the ground running. I will say that there's a lot of different ways you can measure the success of somebody, but I would say that I don't think I've come across anybody in the district so far who hasn't said anything but like the most positive things about her. Like she is just been so well received. So I really am glad she landed with us. STAR team, the kind of the counseling social worker element of our district. We were awarded the $75,000 grant from the local Willamette Health Council. Which is not a small chunk of change. We're going to take about 15,000 of that That's gonna help pay for our social emotional curriculum this year. But that does leave us, probably somewhere between 50 and 60 that we're gonna apply primarily at the middle school and high school level, but I wrote the grant in such a way that we can lead some of it down to the elementary if we need to, really focusing on mental health supports, really focusing on raising awareness. Even though we had snow days, I think it was on Tuesday, I had an hour and a half Zoom meeting with Julie, where we were talking about all different types of attendance initiatives that we might be able to take with some of this grant money and just trying to really think outside of the box on how we can seek out some of those students that are struggling with attendance and go to them individually and say, what would it take for you to show up next week and next month? And then use some of this grant money to go out and help make that happen. And, we had one particular student who was really struggling at the high school with attendance, and we reached out to him, and he's like, he wasn't saying that he's not coming to school because he likes video games, but we know that he loves his Nintendo Switch and things like that. And we sat down with him and he said, hey, we, put together a club report and give it to Mr. Amen, and we can do a lunchtime video game club with you and other students that want to be involved, and proctored by a teacher. And his attendance had shot through the roof with just such a low-hanging fruit concept of just things like that. And so we're going to use this grant to bring in speakers, to take field trips, to do all sorts of stuff that's really cool. And then our mid-year DESA testing is starting on Monday. That's the thing we do 3 times a year, where teachers will do a very short evaluation on every single student on their homeroom roster, on social emotional competencies. And if it hits a certain metric, then there's a little bit of a longer evaluation they run them through. And then our counselors use that data to kind of form individual sessions or small group sessions or whole class instruction or things like that. And it just kind of helps us drive the trends of social emotional comportment of students throughout the district. Cool. And then lastly, if you didn't have a chance to see it on Facebook or attend in person, ICE haven't been in front of you since this happened. This was, mid-December. This was our winter celebration. Another fantastically attended event. I mean, I think Charlene tried to do the little clicker count, and she stopped after the 400s. Like, it was really well attended. It was fantastic. And then shout out, because like 95% of it ended up really being privately funded by community citizens who realized, like, we didn't have the district funds to do this year, and they rallied and they got donations and they got it done, and we ended up just having a really terrific event, and it was really fun. So my appreciation goes out to those community members that helped make this happen. So
It's good to hear.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Yes. Like always.
I do have a quick question.
Please.
In regards to the attendance,
Yes.
is that kind of, an issue in all 3 of our schools, elementary, middle school, and high school, or is it mainly in middle school, high school?
So it's a good question. And Julie would be our attendance person, so she's the one that would best answer. But what I can tell you is that statewide averages, national averages right now are in the high 60s. Jervis School District is in the low 70s. So if you actually compare us in some respects to regular attenders and things like that, we are better than average, which is a testament to the work that's being done. But I think that if you look at low 70s and you say better than average, that still doesn't make you say fantastic. There's still a lot of work to be done. And so a lot of it does come around a core group of students and their parents, and helping educate them on why like every day actually does matter. And I give you an anecdotal story really quick of an elementary level student who was having some poor attendance, and they ended up having a parent teacher conference, and just kind of, happenstance, the teacher with the mom there was like, ask the student, what letter is this? And the student couldn't identify it. And the mom, or then the teacher then turned to the parent and said, well, we studied this letter the 3 days your child wasn't here. And you could see the light bulb in the mom kind of go, wait a second. Oh, like, and it's so it's to say, is it a problem? I mean, Yes, it's a problem. I mean, if attendance is in the high seventies or low seventies, even if it's above averages across the board, like there is still a lot of work to be done. I think we all recognize that. I think Julie does a lot of tireless work to do the absolute best that she can. I think greater levels of coordination among all of us to be able to attack this problem in really dynamic, thinking out of the box ways. I think that there is some low hanging fruit that we can probably address, that we will see over the course of this coming semester. That we will, I think we're all very hopeful that at the end of this school year, we will see a jump in attendance scores and then a real strong kickoff campaign at the start of the next one. It's just, to say pre-COVID, post-COVID, but post-COVID, it's been a difficult thing everywhere across the board. The dynamics of how people think of this and parents and kids, like it has just fundamentally changed how they appreciate showing up and what that means. And we brought in a speaker to the high school back in November, and he basically, like, his message to the students was dress up, show up, and try. And really just saying, like, if you can do that, 90% of it is already done. And it's just amazing how that's the message. Just show up and try. But it is where we're at. And so, yeah, it's to be honest, yeah, it's a problem, but we're aware of it, and Amy's fully aware of it, and she's employing every resource that we can to try to work on this.
Thank you. We do understand
Yeah.
the issue all around the state.
Thank you.
Karen, that you're it.
I feel like I just talked to you yesterday. Because that's about the last.
I know, well, it's work day.
Well, and I didn't bring any goodies or fruit. But I will say that I've been working, with school boards in a couple different capacities for the past 17 years, 3 different districts. And I think that you guys are the best board that I've had the pleasure of working with
Oh,
in that
thank
time.
you.
So I think it's what I see as the main thing is that your own personal agendas don't come into it. You're looking out for the best interest of the district. And I really feel that and sense that in what I see here with you. Thank you. Sure. Okay, so I'm going to send you to page 25. And just pointing out, I talked about in my report about the tax collection being higher than what I reported to ODE that I thought it would be. And so we see that in that very top line when it shows the variance is favorable to $238,000 local sources. Actually, I'm doing an estimate. It might be about 170,000 more collected in taxes than what I budgeted for. But while this seems like a good thing, as when we go into budget time, when we talk about the equation for the state school fund, that is just offset by them not giving us as much of the state school fund. So we look at it, and it looks good in right now, but what happens is in May of 2025, they will adjust for it. So the adjustment happens way further down the line. Seems good, but it's really just equal.
It's
So-
equal.
You have the money to use now, though.
We are being
Right, I know.
putting it into an interest-bearing account.
See? And if we didn't get as much, well, then we would get more from the state. So, anyway. So and then on page 26, I just kind of looked at this graphic this time and while we look and that things kind of look equal, what we've seen is from 2021 to today, that green section, which is purchase services, the bulk being the Frontier charter payments that we send to them, is down by 17%. It went from about 3.4 million in 2021, and now it's at 2.833 million of an expenditure. But those expenditures always
our representative money coming in too on the other side of it. So it's never a bad thing to have the expenditures there. But what we really see is down in the blue being salaries and the orange being associated payroll cost, is that we, since 2021 to this year, and this is just looking at December snapshot, we're up 19.6% for salaries and benefits. So, you know, those years with COVID kind of impacted things, but you know, those salaries and benefits are definitely have risen considerably. And while you would think that's to be expected somewhat, you know, we have to keep an eye on that because our student numbers keep going down. So that kind of balance that. So those are the couple things I wanted to point out, plus, you know, just go tell you how I appreciate you as a board.
Thank you so much, Karen.
So my board report is encompassed in a lot of the discussion items.
Perfect. Board focus, something good?
I don't want it to get lost, but, at some point, and I know that Andrew's gonna hate me for this, but, I'd really like to get the phones out of the high school, just like we did for middle school.
Oh, yes.
Great
thing.
I'm so sorry, but I've just had it.
Well, it's working so well in the middle.
That's what I'm
And-
saying,
and
look.
they're coming, they're coming to high
There's
school.
proof,
So-
there's data that is, come on. I know it's not popular, but
It is-
honestly, I would
I
like
feel
to
the
keep
same.
that on there.
100%. Thank you. Consent items. Okay. Sorry, was there anything else on board focus?
No, that was it.
Right, so 28,
All right,
page 28. Everybody see, look at them.
yeah, can I make a motion? Okay, cool. I move that the Jervis District Number 1 Board of Directors approve the consent items as listed in Mass 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, and 7.4.
Motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Have none? Now discussion item. Perfect.
Okay, so the first thing that I am required to present to you is the annual report in terms of where we did financially with the SIA. And we're required to provide documentation to the state that I actually made this presentation. So if you'll recall, the student investment account grant requires that we focus in at least one of the 4 areas. And this was in your packet, so if you had questions, you know, stop me at any time and ask. So the 4, and then there are 4 required questions that we're supposed to look at as a team, administrative team and I, to determine how did we do in relation to any of those 4 areas of focus. So the first thing is, what changes in behavior, actions, or policies or practices have you observed? And how do you see these changes contribute to the goals and outcomes of our plan? So we have staff has common language and tools, for instance, in curriculum assessments, to guide conversations and efforts toward improved academic performance for all groups of kids. There's a growing awareness of the importance of looking at data and then making adjustments to practice that is occurring. Increasing investments in CTE programs in Willamette Career Academy has allowed student participation to grow and creative programs that small districts could not do alone. So at the end of this reporting year, there were 6 programs. We are implementing a 7th program at Willamette Career Academy. That's a dental hygienist program.
Oh.
And so you'll be getting more information on that. So just
Yeah,
continue.
is this a 3rd year now?
Yes, this is a 3rd year.
So next year's will be from the freshmen, they would be
Well,
available for freshmen through
Yes,
senior.
correct,
Okay,
correct, yeah.
Perfect, okay.
And then several activities in relation to SEL and the counseling program are enhancing relationships and connections. And we're seeing that proven in our Youth Truth Survey results. So we'll share that with you later in the year. The next question is, what barriers or challenges to our implementation have we experienced that leaders need to be aware of? And what adjustments did you need to make to your plan, if any? So there were some projects that we were just unable to implement because we couldn't find staff, like the drug and alcohol counselor and the after-school language program. You know, once we had the one Russian-speaking employee retire, we could not find anybody to come back and do that program. We continue to struggle with attendance and finding that connection or communication that resonates with students and parents. One thing that Julie has created with the attendance teams at each building is actually citing Oregon statute and sharing with parents that it is a law to send your children to school. And especially with elementary parents, a lot of them are not aware of that. And so having different conversations with them about, do you really need to be gone for a whole month? Or is there a way we could do the online learning so that they can be counted as present? Check in once a week, you know, that kind of thing. So, you know, we had been gaining some good momentum prior to COVID, and I think that we've recaptured that momentum. So the fact that we're in the low 70s, like, gives me hope that we are on that right track. And again, a lack of time for professional development and collaboration is really challenging. There's so many things that we're asking staff to do. We cannot reduce the number of student contact days, but the state doesn't give us funding to add days to the work calendar. So we're kind of stuck in this, how do we find time where teachers can do these things that we know would make a difference in student achievement? SIA is supposed to include ongoing engagement with all parties. How have relationships with or between those groups changed and been maintained through the academic year? Remember, this is last year. So at the elementary school, we prioritized getting parents into the buildings for activities with their kids that don't center around a report card or a progress report, but more just how do you spend time with your student in things like literacy night or game night, science fair, those kinds of things. So they're just seeing their students interact in an environment that is still academic and focusing on some of those cores, but also relationship driven.
That's been really well received.
Very well received, yes.
Yeah.
The district continues to use in-person focus groups, surveys such as Youth Truth, different engagement nights and meetings, social media newsletters, and they are provided in Spanish as well as English. When we researched whether or not we needed to provide the materials in Russian, for the most part, except for parents that are from the Ukraine, the Russian community can read English and speak English, so it's not really a necessity. It's not a barrier.
Yeah, they do.
As you think about what guided your choices and priorities for the last year, what stands out and what you've learned this year impact future efforts, it's difficult in making progress with limited time for staff to collaborate. SEL and academic progress is greatly impacted by the summer break and the lack of a robust summer school program. You know, the state did not fund a robust summer school program like it had the previous 2 years, and we definitely saw the effects of that when we were only able to offer summer school to like 60 migrant kids. The competing priorities of SEL and academics are difficult to manage during the school day. They keep piling on all of the things that were required and expected to provide our students, but the instructional day has not increased. And so there's still only 6.5 hours a day to teach kids. And instead of 40 things, you have 120 things. A lack of attendance by elementary students make it difficult for teachers to provide instruction, much like what Creighton just shared with you. And our main priority in terms of reading instruction and curriculum work is laying the foundation for improved academics, and the state's focus and funding for early literacy will help the district move forward. Proud to say that, again, we were kind of ahead of the curve in terms of what the state was going to do, and we had already implemented the literacy piece prior to them giving us the literacy grant. So, you know, we are steps ahead of other districts, and it's good for our kids. And then all of our priorities are also aligned with the district's strategic plan. I'm so thankful for that document and the fact that we keep revisiting it every year and that there's accountability measures, because I think it's really what keeps us all on track and focused on what we're supposed to be doing instead of the next new shiny object. So the accountability is very helpful. So how did we spend our money? So last year, we were given $904,000 and some change. We spent all of that, or we're required to spend it all. You can't carry it over into the next year. And I gave you the areas that we had anticipated budgeting and then the actuals of where we actually spent the money. Unless it's actually zero and I shared that we didn't do it, if it's zero or it's a low amount, we found another source to fund that. So we could put more money into the areas that are costing us more, which is time cards for staff and curriculum purchasing. So when you looked at any of those budget items, was there anything that you were wondering about the difference or want a clarification on?
No, I just love the student newspaper thing that we spent more money there than,
We did,
yeah, and I
Yeah.
love that.
and we're spending more money this year as well. So they really like that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's
I
been
really
awesome.
do.
It's a
I
great
love
program.
looking at
I
that.
had two of those kids come and they told their parents' yearbooks. And they all sat around and like went through all their parents. It was so cute.
Yes,
That's
it's good.
why I'm so glad they're gonna have
Yeah.
her own.
Yeah.
You know, when they graduate.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Nice.
Okay. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. On up to.
Let me see if I can do that here. Okay, so, you have several documents in front of you. And what I want to do first is I want to start with the document that, looks similar to this. Let me share the screen. So it's, has various, it's this packet that has different bond amounts on it. So the first thing that I want to draw your attention, on this page is that, it's not up here projected, but in your packet where it talks about, outstanding general obligation bonds and under the legal general obligation capacity, it says that, you have a capacity of $111,333,451. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Because next to it, in handwriting, I put November 2021. So when we started this process, back in November 2021, you had the bonding capacity of just over $95 million. So in those 3 years, you're now up to $111 million. And remember, when we talked about that first bond amount, if we did every project that was listed, all 119 of those projects, the amount was over $60 million. And part of that also included trying to go for a whole brand new school. We knew that we could not bond almost every dollar that we were able to borrow against. And we also knew that that amount was going to be too much. And so I think it's important to note that our bonding capacity has increased. And when you look at the next page that lists historical property value, and you see that the total assessed value last year or for 2024 was over $803 million, which represents an annual growth of 11.52%. That means that the properties in Ivy Woods are being fully reflected into that, as well as any of the developments down in Brooks. So it's not that everybody's property value went up by 11%.
Right.
It's that overall, as a property tax base, you've increased by 11%.
You can see that from, if you look at 2022,
Mhm.
you see
Yeah.
658 and then the jump that it took in
Yeah.
2023.
As they added
Pretty,
first. Yeah.
yeah, it's, I mean, it's kind of like, so, yeah.
So what you see on the next page and what I have here is different target amounts of like, if the board decides to go for a bond, you'll remember that last spring you asked for $1.97 per thousand. And that was going to generate $24.48 million, which is listed right here. So now, if you have a couple of options here. If you go at $1.75 per thousand over 25 years, That gives you $26.59 million
Six.
plus 6 from the Awesome Grant. If you look at $1.71 per thousand, that gives you 23,621,000 and some change plus 6. And then I also provided you with the bond tax rate tables. And so I didn't put it on this piece of paper because I ran out of time, but I just want to remind you that last year, our assessed value of residential properties was $145,000. And at the $1.97, that meant that a homeowner with $145,000 of assessed value would have paid $285.65 for the year for that bond. Under that last year's amount, the old amount, then if you look at the top of the tax, 450,000. Those would be your home, your farms. There are very few farmers that have an assessed value of their property and land coming in at $450,000. But at that amount, last year's bond would have cost them $886 for the year, or $73 a month. So if we now look at the $1.75 or the $1.71, you'll see that, or excuse, 886 was last year's amount. If you look at $1.75, what I didn't put on your paper is that at 145,000 as your assessed value at $1.75, that's $253 a year. So it's gone down. We're asking for less money and we're getting more money because your property tax base is increased and the projected interest rate has declined. So May 2023, it was $1.97. It was going to get you 24.5 million. This year, if you go for $1.75, it gets you $26.5 million.
And if you go for at the rate of the 197, what would that get us?
That I don't have that figure, but what we can't do is go, you would have to then go back and reprioritize all of your projects.
That is true.
And because we can't ask for more money than what all of our projects would add up to.
Okay,
And
it all
since we-
depends on what the project.
Yeah.
I have, okay,
Yeah.
I can't ask her to run that amount, but,
at this point in time.
Yeah.
Got it.
and so, and then at $1.71,
Mhm.
it brings you $23.6 million. So again, it's just under what you would have gotten at $1.97, but a much lower tax rate. Okay, so I just felt like it was important for you to have this information so you can chew on it, because we'll come back to this again February 9th.
Yeah.
Because at your February 15th meeting, you have to make the resolutions. And February 9th, I need to know what direction you want to go. So I will get the
Yeah.
information from Lauren about what does $1.97
Yeah.
do now.
Yeah.
And I will make that available to you.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I think I would like to know that.
Yes,
Because if we can add, depending on, I haven't seen
Right.
what the projects
Yeah,
are.
yeah, yeah.
But
I 100% agree.
okay. So sorely disappointed. We're having problems with the website launching this thing. So tomorrow morning, I mean, it didn't help that we didn't have, nobody could get to work. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to the ESD and I'm meeting with the person that's putting this together. But this is a snapshot of what it's going to look like on the website. So there'll be a bond projects tab. You'll click on it and then you'll click start. And this one is the elementary school.
Elementary school.
At the beginning of the little prioritization sheet, it will say, these are the non-negotiables. And I'm going to show you what the non-negotiables are.
Okay.
And then you have the list of everything else that was considered not whatever.
Yeah.
And they can prioritize it. If they don't like any of them, they can just skip it. And then they do it for middle school and high school. And then there's, which I didn't get, there's another, a bigger one for district projects. And I have all of them in this packet here for you to look at.
Oh, and this is a survey that they can take.
Yep.
Awesome.
And it's like, it clicks and it moves the things up and You can prioritize them.
When it's done, it tells them exactly what it's gonna, what that would cost.
It won't, it doesn't tell them what it's gonna cost, but it does have the cost next to it. There was no way to tally it interactively. So.
All right.
no,
No, that's fine.
It's,
The programming on the back end of that stuff. can get
Yeah.
really Tricky.
yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And so if you look, so I'm gonna stop sharing this piece.
It's not good, nice, and you're gonna put their tax assessment on you and see what exactly what it costs them. But that's it.
Okay, so the next thing that I have, let me share. Can't see which one says, that's the elementary. This is says elementary, doesn't it? Yes, elementary.
Yes.
Okay, so this
That's this thing, right?
is the first thing that you have in your packet. When they click onto that survey, they're going to see the things that are prioritized as non-negotiables are these things that are bolded in yellow, and I printed it
Okay.
out in your packet.
Yep.
So the first thing is we're improving all of the bathrooms at the elementary school. That's non-negotiable. So there are 2 of those that are highlighted in bold. Anything not highlighted is a secondary consideration, and people can choose to prioritize it in their responses if they like. But what I want you to do is look at this and make sure that this is something that you agree with, not asking for decisions tonight, but feedback by next time we meet in February. Because I also have some thoughts on this that I'm struggling. So, bathrooms at the elementary school, top priority. And what you also notice is that there are dollar figures that are crossed out. So these are also some of the things I was asking Kristen Rebecca Stuker to crunch, the architect. Because project prices are coming in a little higher, things that we thought we could, didn't really need to full on repair 3 years ago, it's now evident that we have a problem.
Right.
So,
Things went down too.
some things are down, some things are.
How did that happen?
Okay.
Some are way down.
Sure.
And again, anything safety and security is highlighted as a priority. So this secure front entryway and vestibule at the elementary school and reconfiguring the main office so that they can actually see who's approaching the building.
Yeah.
It's a very high ticket item for that building. Fixing safety and security at the K2 building. The roof repair, you can see that as we've progressed, we have doubled our costs because it's become evident that the roof is rapidly failing. And so it would be difficult for you as a board to figure out where to come up with the money to do a $300,000 roof repair. And so we might as well just take care of it and so that it's all fresh and done at one time.
Yeah.
It's not patched. Because the other piece is avoiding a little Band-Aid here, a little Band-Aid there. It's not gonna put us in any position to be able to maintain the buildings in a more effective manner. Exterior repairs at the elementary school. Interior improvements. And then on this one, this is where I'm struggling at the elementary school. So I labeled partial HVAC and I didn't do it. This is coming from the community members that we've already had feedback from, as well as your staff. And so the partial HVAC upgrade is $1.5 million. You know that figure. If we go for and add air conditioning to it, it takes it up to a total of $3 million. I struggle with the idea of not putting in air conditioning in a building where we know it's not appropriate to not have air conditioning. Those rooms are so hot. But
No,
that's my struggle.
if you're gonna do it, you should do it right.
I'm agreeing with that. I don't know why we wouldn't just
Do the whole
this
thing.
whole thing. I mean, because if you do it, you do it at 1.5, add the air conditioning 5 years down the road, it's not gonna cost another 1.5, it's gonna cost more than that, yes?
Yeah.
So. Yeah. That makes sense. All right. well,
So as you're doing a preliminary look at this elementary, anything that sticks out to you that you're like, oh, we've totally missed the boat. What happened to X? And again, we're gonna revisit again in February.
But could you run a number? Give us.
I have that number.
Because I think that's.
Yes.
I'd
So
like to know what.
for the
number-
elementary projects,
Wait. You can give me the full.
yes, the elementary projects that are highlighted in yellow. Wait, there's more. Okay. So this is at the 1.5 million HVAC, not the full 3. So that comes to 3.285 million.
Yeah.
Or if you go with 3 million for the HVAC, it's 4.785 million. Okay. Okay. Okay, next is the middle school. So here's my other struggle. Okay, so first of all, we don't have a middle school. You do not have a middle school. You have a series of modulars and one building that is from 1999. And none of these plans address fixing that building.
No.
Because it still has life left in it. And it could be something that in 6 years down the road, when we're eligible for another awesome grant, maybe we need to come back and ask for $4 million to fix that building and the K2 building, because at that point, the K2 building will be 20 years old. And so it's not in here. So you have this new classrooms and commons building, which includes science classrooms, 2 gen ed classrooms, your main office, a dining commons, kitchen, a library, and a STEAM makerspace, and it does have restrooms. And then a cost to enclose the 8th grade building and connect it, so at least kids aren't going in and out of the rain.
Yep.
That cost is $16.327 million. There, you know, we looked at prefab. We know that prefab is not, it's pretty much the same as going for stick built now, and it doesn't last as long.
Right.
And so this is a really huge chunk of money.
Mhm.
I have tried to pare it down. The only way I can shave off about $2 million if we get rid of the library. But then your students have no place to hang out.
No.
I mean, I feel like they've
They do.
already feel gypped anyway. I mean,
That's
truthfully,
fair,
it's like no one has.
Ownership of the middle school, you know what I mean? Like they just, it
Yeah.
doesn't feel like a middle school, so.
Yeah,
I don't
100%.
really feel like cutting anything from them at this point in time.
And I think if we just talk about a level playing field for our students to be competitive with students in other districts, like they need to have a school that contains a library media space, because that is part of education. Correct.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then that also, other priorities, so then if we put this new building in place, then you're gonna have to remodel the existing classrooms to make it work. So that, it's all kind of interconnected. The next piece would be then, the exterior of that current building would need to, have some repairs and windows and siding put in. Safety and security upgrades, $105,000. And then new parking, so depending on what the structure of the new building looks like, this parking price could go down a little bit, but we won't know what that looks like until the architect is able to draw the plans and get it approved by the fire marshal to how it will connect to the other buildings. So we have to price it out as if this is the scenario. So everything for the middle school comes in at $18,417,976.
Can you say that one more time?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
$18,417,976.
And I see that that doesn't include our covered walkways.
It
and I
does
think
not
that's
include the
gym
covered
and
walkway.
large buildings.
And so that could be ones that you decide. You can say, you know, like, let's get through all of it. mark things that are concerning to you.
Yeah.
And think about it.
That's that 210, right?
Yeah, it's a $210,000.
I mean,
You have,
I can't, middle school campus in general should just have covered walkways. Just just thinking out loud, sorry.
Something to think about. Yeah, make a note of it, and then we'll keep plugging away. Yep. Okay.
What are the north buildings? I mean, like, what are those considered?
Say it again.
What, when it says walkway to the gym and north buildings?
That would be like the, old, what used to be the 8th grade modular, but it's science and math. Then.
Oh, okay.
Because there will be a way to connect where they can go through the newer modulars into the new building, into the 8th grade modulars. That's all connected or covered. It's going from the 8th grade modulars to the gym. It's
Oh,
all
okay.
Covered.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, last one, or not last one, but the next one is the high school. So again, this is one where I'm struggling. So, I'm gonna leave this for now. Let's just go through the priorities. So upgrading the science labs, $205,000. Remodeling student restrooms. Remodeling the locker rooms. Replacing the roof.
What's that?
That should have been like number 1. ADA access to the gym and create the weight room there.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you that one is a priority because of what it then frees up. You'll notice that one of the priorities that has been left off is adding classrooms to the high school, even though we know we need them. If we move the weight room out of its current location and move it up to the mezzanine, then we can remodel that space and maybe make it the career college center. Or counseling, we could probably get 2 good sized classrooms out of that, which then solves the shortage that we have.
Is there room up there for weightlifting and wrestling?
Uh-huh, yeah, the architect has already mapped it out. Yeah.
Oh, really?
The security vestibule, so in the front entryway. Safety and security or intrusion hardening throughout the building. Those are like the stop doors and all of that. So here again, I struggle with this major HVAC and plumbing and main building. That's $350,000. But what you'll notice is that adding air conditioning to the commons, kitchen, main office, and gym is not included in this amount.
that 550 right now.
Yeah.
$100.
And like this smaller amount, this 80,000, you have excise tax that you could use to pay for some of that. There's something in here like, add more lockers so kids don't have to share. I think that's 20,000. Your excise tax could pay for that. I can't tell you how much we have coming to us in excise tax because Roger never got back to me. I left him a message again today. And he did not reach out to Karen either to gain an understanding of what that is supposed to look like, so.
Is that the temporary city manager?
Mhm.
I think he left and we have somebody new, don't we? A temporary, when did you talk to him last?
Last Wednesday.
Huh, okay.
Is that-
Right. Maybe
I left a message today with Abby and asked him to call me because I at least needed a general number. I wanted a general number for Q3. So I could give you an update as to how much money you have in excise tax. You still have the $417,000, but you should have more. And I can't tell you what that is.
I was gonna make a quick comment though in regards to the air conditioning, because I know that in our one meeting, there was some hesitation, concern, not wanting to add, obviously, costs. But I do want to say that in our meeting out at the,
Oh, Scenic Valley?
yes, this was actually brought up.
Yep.
That it was needed and that it is affecting our sports.
Yeah.
And so I was like, that's a good point. I mean,
I would add it.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do it,
It's the time to do it.
it's time to do it.
Yeah.
So I would definitely add the,
So that was, I heard favor at that meeting
Yeah.
of, it needs to be done.
I mean, all you have to do is sit through a basketball game.
Yeah. Well, yeah, summer league, yeah, you'll know that.
Since you've been making notes on yours.
Oh, yeah,
So
no,
then we can.
no,
submit it
I was
back.
gonna ask Andy to give, can you give us the number and then add that 550,000?
Yeah, there's a couple of other things I wanted to point out too that I'm struggling with.
Okay.
So,
Right.
if you go back, so like here, it's right above security vestibule. You know, we don't prioritize major interior improvements.
I was looking at that one too. It kind of like,
It's right.
oh, here we go, damaged floor, the ceiling, the wall. I mean, I was looking at
That's
that one
another
and I thought.
You know what
that
rats in the
is-
place?
And right above it, exterior improvements. So, I,
Under 400.
I calculated out how much I added that into a different formula, so I'll share.
Okay.
Okay, so with the highlighted things that we have selected, that project at the high school comes to $5,320,000. All right, let's go to the last one.
We're coming back to this one though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, Okay, so the last spreadsheet is labeled, district level things. And on the, it's just it's a front and back, and so on the back side, all of the, upgraded safety and security technology district-wide. It's 310,000. It's on the back side of the one pager.
Yeah.
And with this, what it doesn't address is the lighting at the football field, which we know is a problem. And also the bleachers in the press box. But we heard from people last time that, that was not a priority for them. Okay, so, so district projects came in at $310,000. So if you add all of those up before just the projects that we identified in that all 4 areas that are yellow. And this is, for the HVAC at the elementary building is just the half of it. So that amount comes in at $28,522,976.
One more time.
$28,522,976. If you add like the HVAC at the high school for 550,000. The 275,000.
This
that
was the
big.
HVAC at the elementary?
I haven't gotten there yet.
Oh.
The 550,000 HVAC for the high school.
Oh.
275,000, which is repairs at the high school, and 115,000, which is so those are the interior, exterior repairs.
Yep.
And then another 1.5 for the air con.
Finish it off.
To finish it off, there's one other project here. It was actually, so what I did is, I know when I looked at the remodel room 7 for CTE, and then add more CTE spaces. And talking with Rebecca, remodeling that space where the PE room is, or where the weights rooms are, and redoing, it'd be about 500,000. So you've got 550,000 for HVAC, you've got 275,000 for exterior repairs, 115,000 for interior repairs, 500,000 for, the CTE space, 1.5 million for the additional HVAC. That gets you to $30,292,000. Oh, for easier math, I would say 30,293,000.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, but that, now, that would be total, right? And that doesn't include our $6 million
Does not.
grant. So you take the $6 million.
But it also doesn't include the elementary full HVAC.
It did.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So now we take, so basically we're I like nice round numbers at the moment. So let's go with 30 million. We know it's 30.3 million, but 30 million less the 6 from the grant, you're looking at, 24. So 24 point, which from what I could see here, where you're telling me,
$1.71 will get close, $1.75.
yeah, I mean, and
$1.75 gets us more than we need.
the 175 would be.
Yep.
And that
So I
way,
can ask her to run a number.
Mhm.
What would be the number to get us to $24 million? We know it's gonna be between $1.71 and $1.75.
Yeah.
Is it $1.73? Like, what is the number?
but I mean, I still think. that's probably-
Yeah, we're getting the number for what we're gonna get for 197,
Mhm.
but, there's gonna be other stuff in here. I know there is. There's just.
Well, there's always cost overruns of some sort. You have to,
Right.
I mean,
I'm almost thinking to go find out what the number would be for us, it'd be like 25.
yeah, I mean, we have to consider some cost overruns. We know
This,
that.
this
stuff.
does build, cost overruns into it.
Okay.
And what you also need to remember is that, well, what I appreciated about Mr. Zelinski saying at the meeting, was that like include the loan. You need to include the loan.
Yep.
I don't know about that.
It's because it's such a hot topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that just not doing that would be helpful.
As much as I think it would be
Beneficial.
beneficial,
Mhm.
I agree with you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You're probably, yeah, it would be so much. I'm assuming from an accounting perspective too, it'd be easier to include it, but yeah,
Continually going down and down and down is like not helpful for us.
Mhm.
It's not like we can keep going for a bond.
Mhm.
In my perspective, especially with those other pieces, I'm good at what we did last time. But I don't want to go less, honestly, because I mean, look at all that, look.
so you're saying go for the 197? And go, because there's all these I mean, there's a lot of stuff that could still be done here. Are you saying go for the one at the 30, 26 million,
Yeah, 'cause that's,
27,
yeah, basic, 26.5 will give us $1.75, and then you add another 6 onto that, so you're at 32
yeah.
at that point,
I think that's.
so.
I don't think you can ask for the same amount.
What about 187?
I don't.
Bring it down to 187, a
So you wanna
compromise.
bring it
I
down a
don't know.
I want to. I mean, obviously we want we want to see what people say. I also think we need to be really clear that as a board, you need to be really clear that not creating a middle school is not an option.
It's not.
And so, and that is the biggest chunk of the bond.
Mhm.
When people say go for less, okay, well, if we go to 15 million, I still can't do anything with the middle school.
Exactly.
And I can't, and at 50, well, you get this at 21 million. I'm gonna be we're gonna be Band-Aiding the other two buildings.
Also, I know is that whatever number we're gonna get, it's still gonna be better than what they're gonna get if we don't do anything. So I'm thinking, let's hear what the 197 gets us,
Because we're still the lowest than all of the other school
Oh,
districts
yeah,
around us,
Yes,
by far.
But I guess, the fallback one would be to go, what we could get for, what you said, 20.
well,
what is
I,
it?
the 175 is actually with the
Right,
26.5 million. You could still add a couple of extra projects that are highly needed.
Yeah. 'cause
You
that's been,
can, in your language that you adopt, you can say, okay, we're gonna go for a bond, you know, whatever the amount is that you pick, 175 per thousand. Then we have to list all of the projects, and at the very end, you can say, and should additional funds be available, we will prioritize.
this.
Yeah.
Because I mean, as I said, I mean, if you're gonna finish, do the middle school, do it right.
You're not gonna have,
Yeah,
there's not gonna be all these opportunities.
Yeah.
We have to,
And it's not like if,
we have to take care of it.
and this community most likely will not pass another bond for other
Yeah.
15 years, so it's not like we have to be able to take care of the gym. We have to be able to take care of some of the interior stuff that you just were talking about the school. I mean, I think about the grade school and the flooding issues and all the stuff that's happened over there.
It's gotta stop.
You can't.
And truly, that, how can we leave those bathrooms the way they are out on the football field? Those football field bathrooms are like, you're like going to prison. They don't look like, it is terrible.
Well, and the bleachers, they're a hazard.
Yeah, we're not getting money.
No, and I agree, but I'm just saying that it's not like,
It's 380 to 315,
Mhm.
correct, though.
So what you could do is put in your resolution language of, should additional funds be available, we'll use it to address additional athletic facility needs.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
I hate to think of a mother having to take their kid into those bathrooms during a football game. It's
I
horrible.
think of myself falling down on the bleachers all the time, frankly, because I'm a hazard.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah.
me too, that's why I said
You both come in.
You have no
I
idea.
mean.
Full body gas, here they go.
I'm not
That's
afraid
why
of
you-
bleaching anymore.
You sit down on the bottom floor.
You wait before I.
Cool.
Okay,
Falling
just a
down.
couple of other things then for your consideration. You're gonna see another page that says the bond oversight committee application. So I want you to take a look at this and give me any feedback that you might have by February, at the February 9th meeting. With the idea that at the February 15th meeting, when you pass the resolution to go for the bond, you will also announce that you're accepting applications for the oversight committee.
Oh.
And so besides just the community members, there will be staff, like I will be on the committee, your board member will have to be on there, Karen obviously will be on there. And we'll have, each building administrator or their designee on that committee as well, so that when it's time to figure out how to spend money, or if we have to do what's called value engineer, which means cut costs,
Yeah.
that they're getting it, providing input on what that looks like. So it'll be kind of a drop down online thing, but I wanted you to see the framework of it to start. All right, a couple of other announcements. So January 22nd, we have our community meeting at the church in Brooks. Another reminder went out today, so that should hit people's mailboxes by Saturday or Monday. That'll be the second mailing. Starts at 6:30.
We can't all attend, obviously.
No, you cannot all attend.
Okay.
So
That's January 20th.
22nd, that's
22nd.
Monday.
Monday.
Monday night, 6:30. I'm just bringing coffee and cookies.
Oh, sorry.
Is there anyone that is gonna be able to attend?
I live right by there, so I'm
Okay.
happy to attend. Great.
Perfect.
I can help you.
Okay,
And 6 PM.
uh-huh.
You go for it.
That's it, excuse me, 6:30.
Oh, 6:30.
Yeah, sorry, 6:30.
6:30, January 22nd.
On January 31st, we're gonna have a work party, and that is the next document that's in your packet. There should be a letter. Like, dear,
A work party.
it's a work party, dear Jervis School District voter, it's a draft on it. This is being.
Thanks.
6:30.
Got
So what we're gonna do at the January 31st work party, and I'm probably gonna actually start at like noon for people, community members who can come in. And we'll keep it going till 8. We printed out all of the property tax statements for the district. Every single single one of them. Wow. And, so if you look at this letter on the backside, you'll see that there's a sample property tax statement. So what's gonna happen during the work party is that a person will get a stack of property tax statements. They will highlight the assessed value. They will then attach this letter and they will fill out what their rate would have been based on $1.97. We're gonna go from last spring to not confuse anybody. And how much it would have really been for the whole year. To stop the myths that it's gonna be $5,000 and $6,000 a year for everyone. Yeah. And then, we're gonna get that mailed out, and so there's probably close to like 4,000 of them. And so we're hoping over the course of those like 8 hours to have, 25 or 30 people in through here, even if they can only give a half an hour for their highlighting and stuffing.
Cool.
That's
Yeah.
what we're gonna do.
That's fantastic.
That
That's
is
a great idea.
Yeah.
awesome.
We should get, I wonder, can you do the kids? No, I guess maybe.
Yeah, we're gonna,
Community hours,
yes,
right?
we're gonna have students
Okay.
come in. Yeah.
Perfect.
So, okay, do you have any questions for me?
No. That's a lot.
All right, so as you're looking over the spreadsheets or whatever these things are, these priority lists, the site's going live tomorrow. So tomorrow morning, I'm gonna be at the ESD at 8:30, because I'm supposed to be there all day anyway, to meet with the person that's doing the software. We're gonna finish it, because there's a couple of quirks there, and then get it launched by noon tomorrow. And I'll run it through February 2nd. And then that'll give me about a week to get everything tabulated. I'll probably email you ahead of time for the February 9th meeting, so you have time to kind of think about it.
Sure.
And if you're looking at these, if you have questions or thoughts, throw me those emails
So
too.
the data that we're gonna get from that is kind of the order in which the public is seen as the priorities,
Mhm.
past the highlighted things.
When are we having our meeting with Kristen to do?
February
evaluation?
9th. Mhm.
Oh, that's
So
so.
that'll be a longer meeting.
Okay, I think I was confused.
Yeah.
thinking it was
Okay, so then
six.
there's the church meeting that,
That's on January 22nd.
But.
that's next week, okay?
Yep.
Mhm.
And then we have, and then work party.
It's January 31st.
Is that, what day is that actually?
It's a Wednesday.
A Wednesday? I mean, I'll make sure to, I'll come in for a couple hours.
Yeah, me
Since I
too.
can I'll rearrange my schedule, so I can definitely do that.
Okay, so the only other thing, Henry, is we do have a, need to do a quick executive session.
All right, so we're adjourned, guys. Good job.
Read that, can you read the ORS? that takes you through that?
You want to break or want to go right into it?
No, just go right
Right.
into it.
Right, and now we're gonna go into executive meeting.